wish I could find a way to better advertise Apothic Press.
Just back it already.
Whoa, Crom, what are you doing here? What's this? The Madness Roku Network. Sponsorship. 1 month of playing your 30-second ad on the network 3 times a day? Oh my gosh, for $20? And you can't beat that.
Just back it already.
All right, Crom, I'm doing it. Awesome. Hi, I'm Tanner Hurley, founder of Apothic Press. I back the Madness Roku Network, and so should you.
Fairview's coffee has mysteriously gone missing. Mayhem ensues when strange, coffee-craving zombies plague the city. Detective Mickey Potatoes, an overworked public servant, uncovers why ordinary citizens are losing their minds and how to stop the coffee apocalypse. But it involves the mafia. And when you're dealing with mafia crime families, nothing is ever easy. The mafia controls everything in the city, including the police, including him. If he breaks the mafia, they will break him. So, the city is without coffee. The city is burning before his very eyes, but he's powerless. Detective Potatoes has the power to stop the coffee apocalypse, but if he does, he could lose everything.
All right, boys and girls, this is Ron from Romo Art, also from Sector 7. All right, take 2. Nope. Hey,
What's
bud.
up?
How are you, man?
Kind of tired tonight, to be honest.
Yeah.
Kind of out of it.
Me too, actually. How come you're tired besides just insane lives?
Yeah, just life.
Yeah.
Just life. I don't know.
Yeah.
It might be a Monday thing. You know, I just not feeling Monday for sure, but whatever, we get through it.
Yeah. I'll tell you, let me actually Monday. Okay, so perfect story for a Monday morning. This is how I started, and your stories are always going to be way worse than mine just because of your ex. But so you always win, just so you know.
No.
Winner. But you're lucky boy.
Yeah. I'll share the luck, believe me.
Okay. I'm also exhausted. Just kind of, I don't know. I have no idea why. It's just fall. You know what I mean? But
Sure.
I really love fall. But so it's Monday, I'm exhausted. I go into work. I get there a little bit early, and I just open the store just a few minutes early. And so this customer that she tends to unload on me. So I work in, for anyone who doesn't know, I manage a privately owned health food, like vitamin store, vitamins and herbs really. And I'll be taking that over at the end of next year. And so I deal with all kinds of customers, and a lot of customers that I have tend to stay for a long time in the store and just like talk and like verbally vomit all over me.
Like me.
Well, no, I mean, sometimes, okay, so there's a difference between asking questions about what this or that does, and literally just coming in and this is all my problems, you know what I mean? So I have a few customers that will stay for like an hour, up to an hour and a half sometimes, and drain the living essence of my soul. And one came in today, older lady, kind of cranky, and started bitching because sometimes we don't have what we're supposed to have, which I have no control over because it's not my store yet. And so she started, now she knows me pretty well and I know her, and she starts bitching about how this store is not going to make it. I give this store 2 years before it goes under, knowing full well that this store is like
been there for like 30.
My family's hope for an actual income next year. You know what I mean?
Right.
Just doesn't give a shit. And she comes in like every week. So we know each other pretty well, and I just deal with it, But today she was in rare form. And she started calling me like a yes man, and she's like, I know you're just a yes man. And she started being like, yes, sir, yes, sir. And she's like, you would have been good in the cotton fields. And I'm like, Jesus. And I actually thought, I think I'm about to kick her out of the store. I think I'm done with this. Like, you're calling me a yes man because I have no control over it. It's not my store, and actually calling me a slave. And I'm like, what is this? Was how my Monday started, and I opened the store before I was even supposed to.
I don't mean to laugh.
No, dude, that's my first customer. That's my first interaction with the outside world. Is this? And I'm like, okay, I'm thinking like I really kind of want to kick. I want to be done with her. But then you know what? I'm like, you know what? It wasn't getting to me inside. I was pretty detached. I usually get adrenalized pretty easily because I have anxiety. You know what I mean? So I tend to get angry really fast. I was really detached. So really all I did was just kind of sit there. I was making my protein shake and just nodding and smiling as she's calling me a yes man and a slave. And I'm like, this is the world. This is what's left. This may be as good as it gets with humanity from now on. And I'm like, holy shit.
It's funny. I agree with you though. Like, I could imagine being detached because ultimately, like, her opinion, it doesn't matter. Like,
no, not at all. Not at all. It didn't. Like I said, it didn't. Usually, when people, like I said, I have anxiety. So when my anger overrides my anxiety, which is why I can handle situations when they pop up. But it's not fun for me. Like it usually lingers for hours afterwards. You know what I mean? But I just wasn't feeling it today. Maybe it's because I was so tired. I just got in, and I'm just like watching her berate me, and I'm like, I don't fucking care. I'd either kick you out,
dude.
Then I have to explain to the boss why I did it. And he'd take my side, but that's just more.
Look. So there, a certain level of detachment is pretty healthy, actually. Like that's a good thing that you were just like whatever.
I was just making she's like, you're quiet. And I'm just like,
yep.
yeah.
Because
like,
you're pissing me off.
Yeah, like you don't want to know what I have to say, and I'm not going to say it because it's just not time yet. You'll piss me off again, and then it'll be time probably. But it was just a crazy, like you said, Monday, like the first customer even before technically opening, and Monday, and I'm like, okay, no, I got this. I know what to expect now.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the day was good. I finished the cover for Nano 13. Turned out really nice. And so the rest of the day was fine. But yeah, so that was my introduction to the week.
Yeah, I don't know what it was for me. I didn't even have to like, so oddly enough, all my periods got hijacked today for some reporting system thing that they're rolling out. So I didn't even have to teach today. I literally, my entire day was just coasting. I've essentially got a 3-day week. Friday is a superintendent's conference day. So we'll go in, there'll be some stuff that we do. And then they usually say from lunchtime on, it's like, planning time in our rooms, which no one ever stays after that. I do because I don't have the luxury of having been there long enough, but
you don't have tenure.
Yeah. I tend to do the things I'm supposed to do anyway. Just because I'm wired that way, but so I guess I'm a yes man too, to some extent, but I'm
a yes man because I respect boundaries. And no matter how much I'm at the store, no matter how long I've been at the store, it's not mine.
Right.
Period. It's not mine. And that's one of the reasons why my boss likes me, is because I'm very respectful. And I understand I understand boundaries. You know what I mean?
And it's not like, you don't go into Walmart and tell the cashier they're just a yes man. Like
it's crazy.
It's just stupid. So so long story short, we're kind of meh today. Real quick before we jump into Spidey, we have tickets for Godzilla 2000.
I know you told me. That's awesome, buddy.
So
Matt bought us tickets. I don't know if you know, babe. Yeah, Matt bought it. I forgot to tell her because we're always busy.
Yeah, So I got to talk about this for 2 seconds because I'm really excited about this. I did look into how much it would be to rent out the theater, because honestly, for whatever it was, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, whatever, it wasn't much less than what it cost us to rent out the theater back when
during COVID, though.
During COVID, right? And I did look into that, and it said unfortunately they don't do that.
They
anymore,
don't do that anymore
unless it's like some sort of corporate thing, and then you got to buy literally every seat in the place. Yeah. So that's out of the budget nowadays. But man, that I'll never forget that COVID night. That was
the best theater experience like me and Brittany ever had. That was so awesome.
It was for those that don't know.
It was the only time like I didn't worry about talking too loud, or not that I like to talk in movies anyways, but I have probably I would say a healthy respect bordering on neurotic respect for other people's feelings sometimes. And it's like, it was nice to be like, oh, if we speak too loud, that's Matt right there. Like it doesn't matter. It was great.
But regardless, why this one's special to me is not only because it's gonna, I'm bringing 2 out of my 3 children and you guys, but the reason why this one in particular is special to me is it's actually the first Toho Godzilla film I ever saw in theaters. The only one I saw prior to that was the Matthew Broderick vehicle. That was a slap in the face to longtime Godzilla fans. I know a lot of people out there are fans of it. I would say I've come to actually to grips with Zilla as his own monster. I really like him actually as his own monster, but it wasn't Godzilla. So seeing Godzilla 2000 in theaters for the first time back then was a special moment for me, and now I get to relive that with my best friends and my children, and I think that's super cool. So if you guys haven't seen that, it's on Fandango. You can get tickets typically. Well, it's like one night only. November 1st, I believe it's a Wednesday. So you guys should go check it out and make it a success. So maybe we'll get some more of these things.
The first one I saw, besides obviously 97, the first one I saw was Godzilla 1984 or 1985, whatever that one is. It 84 or 85? I always get
so it's both.
That's
the
what
reason.
So that's what I thought.
Yeah,
because sometimes I'll say a number and then I'll look at a poster and I'm like, wait, no, that doesn't seem right. And then I'll see a poster that says 84.
So the Japanese one is called Godzilla. It's actually called The Return of Godzilla, or sometimes they'll call it Godzilla 1984 kind of thing. The American version, the one that we're more familiar with, the one that you probably saw, would be Godzilla 1985.
1985, okay.
And that was with Raymond Burr reprising his role as Steve Martin in it. And that had all the Dr. Pepper placement and, stuff like that.
I loved it, man. My mom took me to see that. It was great.
Still one of my favorites. And although it's not available as an official release on DVD or Blu-ray, folks can check it out on archive.org. There's been some fans that have gone back and remastered the original footage in high def. So it's probably not as good as an official release, but it's getting pretty close. And you can watch that for free. So on archive.org. So kind of a cool thing to just sit there and stream it. But
speaking of movies,
movies,
what we decided on talking about tonight was the Spider-Man movies. The good, bad, ugly, and indifferent. We have different opinions on certain ones. I know. I'll look at the 70s guy. Nice. I used to watch that one. So
I barely remember watching reruns of that one.
It was vivid for me. I mean, I'm a lot older, but it's vivid for me. So okay, what one do you want to start with? You want to?
I was going to ask you the same thing. Where do you want to start?
So do you want to start with? You know what? Damn, should we do like a Tarantino and start at the end and work our way back to the beginning? Or
we could. So
right.
That would leave us with.
We're going to start with the last ones, and then we're going to work our way back to the start.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So that would be No Way. Nice.
That's great.
So No Way Home is
all right. So that was the third movie of the new ones, right?
Right.
Okay. All right. Fucking sucked. Did you see it?
I did, yes.
Okay,
and
right.
I've seen them all.
Okay.
So I
can't believe. Okay, I can't believe that movie slipped past every hater. Like I'll mention. I don't care because no one's really watching this anyways. Nerdrotic, all those guys, every person that I used to watch that were bitching and yelling about films and Disney, they all unanimously, even people that weren't in that nerdrotic heels versus babyface group, Mr. H reviews. We don't always agree, but I respect his opinions on films. He loved it. I don't know how the fuck this movie slipped through, and I know it was the member berries, but I'm sorry. I almost think it's because it wasn't technically Disney. It was like Sony. Because if it was Disney, maybe I don't know why they actually do what they do, if you know what I mean. So if it was Disney, maybe they would have bashed it. But since it was Sony, they're like, oh, it's fucking amazing. They can still make good movies. No, they fucking can't. It was horrible.
Yeah, I don't know. It's funny. I think it was I have a weird relationship with that movie because I think it's actually a pretty bad idea that was executed fairly well for a bad idea. And I'm
the opposite. I thought it was a good idea that was executed very poorly.
See, no, I'm so tired. Multiverses are the laziest thing in writing right now.
I know.
Every person, it takes literally about 3 I'm sorry, I'm going to get some people mad for a second.
The people who get mad at us for bashing these types of storylines, they don't matter.
Yeah, honestly, I don't even know that we matter that much. like no one's like everyone's like, wait, those guys don't like something. Who cares?
No, everyone.
It takes about 3 brain cells to write a multiverse story. It really does. It's such a crappy concept that has been shoehorned into everything. And I am so sick of seeing it. It makes me nauseous. Like
it's like bringing in the cousin or the new baby to the Cosby Show in seasons 5 or 6, because that's what you do at season 5 or 6 of any TV show. You bring in a cousin or you bring in the baby. And it's just to keep it going for 3 more seasons.
Right. Well, it was jumping the shark, right? Just
jumping the shark. Multiverse is jumping the shark. And it's cousin Pam.
But now properties are jumping right to that. Like they're just skipping all the steps and not even creating a good story, just going straight to multiverse.
Because Hollywood is money laundering. Hollywood is there's no reason. So the new movie that came out, which apparently actually wasn't kind of very good, but the visually, it's called The Creator, and it was done by the guy that directed Rogue One and the first Godzilla. Okay, so this movie apparently, and if you watch the trailer, you can tell flawless. I mean, the special effects are unreal. $80 million. $80 million for a flawless, gorgeously shot movie. So when you're talking about $300 million before marketing for pieces of shit like Ant-Man, and the Quantumania, they're laundering money, folks. I don't know. That's what it is. It's the same as NASA. It's the same as CERN. CERN is not opening up black holes. It's a giant tax shelter and a money laundering scheme.
I don't even I could truthfully care less where all the money's going. I mean, I do, but like just in terms of like what they're actually putting out, like crap is crap. And I just think that.
But that's the thing, like they don't give a shit anymore. They don't care because basically they know what it is and they know that no one's going to do anything about it.
Well, I think they have consumers trained.
For shit.
I think they also have consumers trained. Like Marvel can afford to put out a Star Wars film that'll make $500 million because it has Star Wars on it. Like no one has.
It's weird though because it's not working like that anymore though. Like everything is flopping, but they're still doing it.
Yeah,
like, there was a point to where fans. I mean, I know that you checked out of Star Wars when they canceled the
years ago.
Yeah, when they said the novels weren't canon, you were like, "Fuck you, I'm done."
Yeah, basically.
Respect, totally. But there was a point to where at least people like me were still holding on in this kind of like by the 3rd or 4th movie, like maybe they'll stop, maybe this one will be good, and now we're like. We're like 7 years in and it never stopped and we're all done.
What I saw like the Mandalorian and things like that was pretty good. The early stuff, like first season, my son watched it. I thought it was actually the best Star Wars stuff I had
the first
seen.
Season was good. I couldn't finish it.
Yeah, I don't care enough anymore to do that. I think Baby Yoda was the best thing that ever happened to Star Wars in the past 25, 30 years. Whatever, it
was the best thing to happen marketing wise.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean? Like obviously we see Baby Yoda for what it is. It's the little stuffed animal suction cup to the back of the station wagon. Like it's Garfield. You know what I mean?
It's brilliant. I think it's adorable. Yoda used to be my favorite character, but I'm talking like Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi Yoda. That was actually like charming and fun, and not like some CGI little gremlin that didn't do anything. It was just annoying. Like it was almost just like I'm grumpy old Yoda now. Like stop it. Like I don't know. Like the whole thing like just bothered me. And I get that they were going for like Yoda pre-Hermit, on Dagobah thing. But regardless, we're getting on like a ridiculous.
I was just thinking we cannot stay on topic to save our lives.
No, we will go down the rabbit hole. But
we'll go down any hole. It doesn't even matter if it's a rabbit trail. Like if we see a hole, we're jumping. It's fucking horrible. I'm the most off-putting.
Yes, you are.
Oh, I like that.
I'm sorry. Now I don't know. I go back and forth because people have made the argument with it. Regardless, back to No Way Home. Like I think it was a crappy idea. I think it was it was executed as well as it could have been, I think, at the time, right? Like, I don't know that you take that story and do much better with it than what they did. That's my...
I'm gonna poke a huge... Okay, so this is where... Now, I checked out pretty early because, Jesus. But I will tell you what, where I really was like, okay, I'm giving this 20 more minutes. I'm just shutting it off. I'll finish it at work tomorrow. I don't give a fuck of watching it on a big screen. When this whole movie started, okay, the plot device for this movie was the fact that Peter was upset that his actions, being Spider-Man, whatever, caused his friends heartache and hardship. They couldn't get into colleges.
Right.
So the whole reason for this movie happening was because Peter went to Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange just, I don't know, master of the mystic, fuck it, because he's like, yeah, I'll fuck with reality for you. It'll be fun. No, it's stupid. Like, he would never do that, but that's beside the point. He does. Peter can't shut his mouth, and he's holding reality together. He's like, you gotta stop, and I'm like, God, this is just ridiculous.
It was bad. Don't get me. So let me, and maybe it helps to like preface this with the fact that my expectations for that movie were so non-existent that I was impressed that it didn't just complete. Like, it was about as good as I expected it could have been.
See, maybe, okay, so everyone that I listened to loved it. So maybe that's what happened to me. If you had no expectations and you went in for just a little bit of enjoyment, I can see how you got that.
I fully expected to hate it. I expected to loathe it beyond belief, and I didn't loathe it beyond belief. It's not a good movie.
So that actually explains a lot, because we went into it with very different expectations.
Right.
So the fact that this whole movie, the impetus of the point of action of this movie was because Peter didn't want his heartaches, his hardships to rub off on his friends. As soon as the spell goes awry, the first thing he does is bring his friends right to Doctor Strange, and they're going to go catch the bad guys. Like, at that was the point where I mentally said, fuck it, this is goddamn ridiculous.
You know what made no sense to me was at the end, they like shoehorned Venom back in somehow. I'm like, wait, how does this make any sense? Like,
it did.
The whole thing was like one giant plot hole. The movie just took place. Like, they basically at one point, I accepted before I even saw the movie that they were going to stare me straight in the face and say, we don't respect your intelligence. So just literally shut your brain. And that was true. Like, the whole movie was one giant plot hole. I love it.
That's great.
I love it. But I think and yes, it was a cash grab, but in the midst of that, I do think there was some pretty cool things that they did. Like I said, I think they did the best that I expected them to be able to do with it. Like it.
And I get it now. I totally understand now. Hey, HCF Paranormal. HCF. I said HCF.
What's up?
I don't have my glasses on, so.
Yeah, Pops, I'm not impressed with it, but I was impressed that I wasn't more angry about it, is what it was.
See, so I went in, all right. So I listened to every person at that time that was bitching about every movie coming out and hated everything. And they all unanimously loved this movie. And I'm like, okay, I really liked the second one. I did not like the first one. I'm like, you know what? All of the people who hate everything love this. Even people in different circles on YouTube, I gotta see this. It's gotta be good. And it was fucking garbage. So I went in with high hopes, and I can't believe. I mean, it's like you said, the whole movie was a giant plot hole.
It was, yeah. You had to completely shut off any. And I'm usually the guy that can't do this, but I had already decided that I almost was like already on the point that I hated the movie before I went into it. Like,
if you can plan ahead, you can shut your brain off. I totally get that. Yeah.
It was.
Yeah. No, see, so now I understand why we have such differing opinions, because
whereas the Batman, I heard much more mixed things about. I tend to have a pretty good opinion of most Batman films in general,
Yeah.
right? So I went in with hopeful expectations, and I wasn't disappointed. I actually
No,
thought
not at
that was
all.
a pretty good movie.
Not at all.
There's a couple of things, gripes that I have with it. The Joker, of course, being one of my main ones, but we already hashed
awful.
that
I
out.
know.
But so moving.
Okay, so there's the third movie, and I don't know. I don't know. I would love to know why everyone touted that as the greatest movie. They can still make great movies across, And
I think it was the best of that phase. Like, I really do.
I think the second one was the best. So
I didn't.
So now let's go to the second one.
Let's go to the second one. Pops has something to say.
Pops is saying no.
So I think
the second. Go ahead and tell me why you didn't like it.
Jake Gyllenhaal is a big reason, because that dude just stunk the place. And I get it. Like, I don't know. There's something just super unnatural about the way he was acting, and I get he was acting in the movie, but it was borderline obnoxious to watch him for me. Like, I don't know. I really like what they did with his costume, and I thought a lot of the scenes looked really good.
Gorgeous. The production, the designs was really good.
The design was really good, but just the execution was bad. But for the most part, that's what I've said about the entire oh gosh, what's his name? Why am I forgetting his name? Tom Holland. Yeah, there we go. I felt that way about the whole trilogy. Like, I just thought, man, if these were good stories, this might be actually fun. They always get you with the trailer.
Yep.
Yep, that's true for just about anything, and that nowadays. But so what really sold you on that?
So this is weird again, and I don't think it's because we went in with different expectations. You just didn't like it, and I did. I like Jake Gyllenhaal, but let me tell you why I like Jake Gyllenhaal. Because when Jake Gyllenhaal first started his career, besides Donnie Darko, which is an anomaly in and of itself. Okay, besides
it's its own beast for sure.
Yeah, by far. So I thought Jake Gyllenhaal was very drab, and like Brittany put up the Family Guy joke between him and his sister. I'm more off-putting. No, I'm more off-putting, because they were both very off-putting.
I was already thinking of that. Like, it really is.
His sister won because she's awful. But I saw when he kind of calmed down and he started doing more low budget acting, like real acting. And it was the movie Nightcrawler. Once I saw him in Nightcrawler, I didn't fall in love, but I really respected him as an actor. Now, that being said, he's probably a piece of shit like every other actor, but I'm saying that dude can act, because if anyone's seen Nightcrawler, that movie was phenomenal. It was really creepy, and it was really good. And then he did the boxing movie, which I didn't see, but I saw some scenes, and again, acting was top-notch, absolute top-notch acting. So he had calmed down from big Hollywood roles, went and did smaller, real acting roles, and he won my respect as an actor.
Okay.
So I went in actually liking Jake Gyllenhaal. It was a very different character for him to play. I thought he played it well as a comic book villain. I thought I really liked him. That being said, the entire movie I just enjoyed. I actually think, so out of the three, that's my favorite one. I might be wrong, but I think the first and third had the same director, and the second one had a different director.
I'm trying to think. The second one might be, sadly enough,
the ending to me was phenomenal. Like I really loved the ending of that movie. Like, I thought they had a great build up. I thought of all the three, it was really good.
I liked the cliffhanger. I definitely did enjoy that movie a lot, but I feel like, again, and this isn't the first set of movies to do this, but I feel like they kind of go too big way too fast, and Marvel's definitely guilty. DC is certainly guilty of this. Superman, I've made that great. Man of Steel. I made that gripe about a number.
That movie was exhausting.
Right,
you
it was.
actually get tired watching that movie because it's so much. It's such an attack on the senses. Like,
yeah,
holy shit!
It really is. It is just way too much, and not enough of it's compelling. Like, you know,
and that's actually what is movies killed comics. Yeah, well,
I don't know.
I would actually argue that comics killed comics.
Yeah,
or the other C word killed comics.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah, I really, none of the Holland films really struck me as, I felt like they were relying on Robert Downey Jr. to kind of come in and, you know, carry some of the.
They cheated. They
cheated a little bit.
And that's why as a whole, all three films as a whole, I don't like them. I don't consider, they're not my Spider-Man.
Yeah, and that's a thing. So maybe a good way to sum them up is they felt like Avengers movies. You know, like in scale, and like, I don't know, I needed a smaller Spider-Man story. I just wanted to see him catch some bad guys in Manhattan, and for some reason they think we've seen all of that already. And I still think there's interesting stories you can tell.
I didn't mind the Spider-Man with the Vulture. Like, okay, so me being a fan of all the Marvel movies up until a certain point, like everyone else, I thought the first Tom Holland movie on scale was a relatively small movie.
They went to DC and stuff. Like him doing backflips off the Washington Monument and stuff was just like, okay, like I don't need to see that right now. Like I wanted to see Peter in his hometown. I wanted some world building in.
See, but that's my gripe too. Okay, so the scale didn't bother me. What bothered me is pretty much the same thing that bothered you. I didn't like the world that they put him in. That's pretty much, people say that like Captain Marvel was when they started to do the SJW stuff. It's not. No. It was Spider-Man. It was the first Spider-Man movie. They set him up in that SJW world. And I'm sorry, but his obese little friend with the fat face, I want to punch him in the, like, he's got a face you want to punch. I can't stand that fucking kid. I cannot stand him. He's obnoxious to look at, and he just has a face you want to kind of slap. And Peter doesn't have friends. I'm sorry. He doesn't. It doesn't work. It just doesn't. Peter has MJ, or Peter has Gwen Stacy. He actually doesn't have friends. And the friend that they gave him was really annoying. And it's just, he works as a loner. That's how he works. That's what his character is.
Plus, plus his friend is, there's rumors that he was going to be Hobgoblin if they continued forward with that.
He was going to be Hobgoblin?
Yeah. In fact,
maybe Hobblegoblin, just hobble onto the shield and drink a Coke or something. Holy shit. Wow. That's ridiculous.
Let's see. Yeah, that was what I remember reading that. Yeah, Ned Leeds, right, is the name of the character. And that is also one of the versions of Hobgoblin.
No, I can't stand that. So Brittany just compared him to the friend in Godzilla vs. Kong, the obese obese Australian kid. He was also in Deadpool 2.
Yeah.
Freaking can't. Again, I don't know what it is. And listen, I'm a big guy. It's not the obese part. You know what? Let's just. I got to put this out right now. I think they pick people with faces that annoy people.
Could be.
Because there's a lot of new especially female. Okay, in Shang-Chi, his friend, his really obnoxious female Asian friend, right? I knew in the trailer I fucking hated her. Everything about her. You're like, I would not want to be around that bitch at a party, not even for a second. She looks obnoxious. She is obnoxious. And they all have this weird face. This kind of it's like a pudginess, and their lips are always really pudgy. There's this weird look that they have that you're like, man, my hand would fit just right on the side of your fucking head. And it's like they pick people that are visually just annoying. And I think Peter's friend was like that. The kid from the Godzilla vs. Kong, her friend was like that. Neither of them serve a purpose.
Right. I think they just put them in. So here's the thing, like they're all about representation. So they're trying to check as many boxes as they can. And let's face it, no one wants to see, a big dude running around in spandex and tights. It's just not what people pay to go see. So they find a way to, let's make a witty sidekick that, ever is supposed to be super lovable, so we can.
But they always come off like, obviously, me and you bitch about it, they don't write it correctly. They come off as annoying and slappable. Not relief. That's
99% of writing nowadays is annoying and slappable. Like, I'm trying to remember some of the ones. I'm like, I know if I thought long enough, there are some moments where I just want to be like, that is one of the stupidest lines I have ever heard written in my entire life. Like, just absolutely shameful stuff that gets put out there nowadays. And, it's mind blowing. But if we're even gonna scratch the surface of the Garfield films,
so we have to Pops has a show starting right at 8:00, so we got to be done like a few minutes before 8, and then run some ads so that Pop can have the next show on right away.
So why don't we touch on the Garfield stuff?
Yeah. So Garfield is like Generation X. That's awesome. Garfield is like Generation X. It's like no one talks about. It's the lost Spider-Man, right? Like no one talks about Generation X on the news. It's always boomers and millennials. Generation X just disappeared.
Sure.
That's Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man. And it was, what did you saw both of them, right?
I saw both. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, what did you think?
I love Spider-Man. So whereas I'll skip, a lot of superhero movies if I'm not interested in the hero, like I don't care about Ant-Man. I'm not going to go watch every single one of them like every time they're released. If I catch one eventually, great, whatever. But Spider-Man's like top 3 easily for me, if not. So Spider-Man, the Andrew Garfield ones were, I like his version of Peter. Like I think they captured him well.
Yes. The best Peter. My opinion, the best Peter.
Yeah. The problem is the movies just aren't that interesting. I thought the second one was better than the first, and I'm actually a really big fan of the Lizard. So the fact that I can barely remember, and I've seen it multiple times, the fact that I can still barely remember any of that movie says a lot, because that movie is just like, it feels like a slog.
You know what sucks, dude? So I think we've talked about this. In my opinion, I know what you mean, but that movie was just a couple scenes short of being really good. And it wouldn't have been hard to fix, man. It was really close to being a really good Spider-Man movie. And it just needed a little nip and tuck in a couple places. And I think it would have just filled everything out. I really do.
Right. It needed something because it just ended up falling really flat. And to this day, it's like, man, I don't even remember. I know it's sacrilege to some folks, but I think Spider-Man 3, and I'm kind of jumping the gun here, is more memorable than that first.
Oh, by far. Maybe for different reasons, but yeah, by far.
Well, yeah. So, but right, and maybe it's more infamous than famous. I don't know. Some people may feel that way. I'll get to that during the next show when we talk about the Raimi trilogy.
Interesting. Yeah, we'll do that on the next one. Interesting thing about both of these movies. Mark Webb was the director. Mark Webb is now the director of what's going around on YouTube, like the next horrible woke movie is Snow White and the Seven Dwarves, which is now like Snow White and the Seven Magical Creatures. And Rachel Zegler is the new whoever the hell played Captain Marvel. She's the new Brie Larson. Completely unlikable, hated, despised. There it is. So Mark Webb also is the director of that movie. I'm gonna call it and say they just had the wrong guy. Yeah. They just now that being said, I also know that Sony put a lot of pressure on those movies because they wanted the Sinister Six.
Right.
So they were cramming way too much shit. You could feel it in the second one, cramming way too much shit in there.
Yeah, although I think the second one was more interesting. I kind of, as much as now I'm about as much of a comic book purist as it gets. I feel like unless something's really bad. And with Electro, I think that costume is impossible to pull off on screen or very close.
You can't. No, you know what? Actually, the costume, yes, but the version they did in the third Tom Holland movie, I thought was a better version than they did in the Andrew Garfield one.
Right. No, I would agree with that. I thought that was solid, and but yeah, that original. So I kind of forgave the fact that he didn't look exactly like his comic book counterpart. That I could swallow. That wasn't too bad. I enjoyed the movie. I thought it had a decent pace and plot. I think the Green Goblin probably got the shortest end of the stick in that, because for being one of my favorite characters in the whole Spider-Man universe, he just ended up not really being, again, all that memorable, other than the fact that, and spoiler alert, he kills Gwen Stacy, at the end. Well, he doesn't really. Technically, the fall / Spider-Man.
Technically, Isaac Newton killed.
Yeah, technically, physics killed Gwen. But, I thought it was a solid. Actually, I absolutely love one scene from that movie where Peter and Gwen are just on top of the Golden Gate Bridge there. I think it's a Golden Gate. I don't remember. It's a bridge in New York City.
It's a bridge.
It's a bridge. And they just have this super romantic scene. And it's so sappy and I love it. And
I do too. But those two were together. I don't know if they're still together, but back then they were actually together. And those two had such amazing chemistry.
Right.
And obviously in real life as well. Andrew Garfield, again, don't know him as a person, as an actor. I'd have to assume he's a piece of garbage. But I mean, I think you're the one that told me, like, after the first one, he said he made some comment like, well, what if Peter Parker was gay? And I'm like,
he wanted him to experiment. That was his quote. Yeah.
Yeah.
I really don't. I don't want
like on that motherfucker. Yeah. So again, so obviously a piece of shit. But here's the thing. I do think Andrew Garfield is actually adorable. Like, I think he looks adorable as Peter Parker. You instantly like him. He's lovable. He works so good with Gwen. And I will tell you, the guy can obviously fucking act. I love him as an actor. And I will tell you, when Gwen died, I actually have to fast forward that. Even if I watch it now, I have to fast forward it, because him crying makes me fucking cry.
Yeah,
like,
dude,
he's really fucking good at crying. And when it looks that real, I actually get upset.
He didn't do the ugly Tobey Maguire cry when Uncle Ben died, right? Like,
that was so fucking, like, how? Okay,
I'm sorry, I can't even hate on him for it. I love it. It's real to me. It's actually, in some ways, it's endearing because it is real, but it doesn't look pretty. That's the thing.
No,
Andrew Garfield cries pretty.
Because it's typical Sam Raimi, where he does these weird shots. He does weird, like, he just basically put the camera directly in front of Tobey Maguire, and he leaves it there too long, and it becomes fucking weird. like he's known for that kind of quirky style of directing, but that works for Spider-Man. It just, sometimes you're like, oh, dude, like, that's actually really, like, I hate the word, but cringe. You know what I mean? You're like, I don't even want to see that.
It could be a little cringy now, especially in hindsight. I don't think I even thought twice about it back then, but now looking back, I'm like, oh yeah, it's a little weird. But
that's a little weird. Like, you can leave the camera too long. It's an editing thing. Like, don't do that.
Yeah,
like,
no.
It's like leaving the camera on Batman too long if he's just standing in a room. That's it. The game is actual reality. It looks just like that. Oh God, fucking gold, absolute gold.
Oh, I needed that laugh.
That was great.
I'm gonna cry. I'm gonna
I swear
ugly
to
cry
God.
right
That's
now.
my wife, everybody. That's why I love her.
Oh,
That's why I wake up every day. That's great.
oh,
Oh,
oh, man, I am.
what
That's
do we got? We're at 50 minutes.
yeah.
50:41. So just
So
a few more minutes.
yeah,
minutes.
we got a few more minutes. So long story short, that one, I really liked some of the things they did. Like I said, love the chemistry between those two. You're absolutely right. Andrew Garfield, I think, was the most true Peter in the sense of the quips, like the sarcasm in his fights. Like he really seemed to. They had a good handle on that.
Yep.
And yeah, like I just don't think they really got everyone right. I thought, again, the Lizard was kind of lackluster. Green Goblin was kind of meh. I don't think anyone's gotten the Green Goblin as good as it could be yet, although I love Willem Dafoe's version.
No, I don't think anyone's gotten – no, not even – I mean, I was already old enough to see Willem Dafoe and be like, that looks like a Power Ranger. I don't like it, period. Like, I don't know why they went with that.
At the time, I accepted it, but now looking back, I'm still on board with. I've seen the original animatronic for it. I thought that was a way better idea.
Way better, dude. It looked really good. Yeah.
It did, and it not only did it look really good, but it makes more sense in the story because Sam Raimi asks you, and again, not really something I worried about at the time. Well, I did point it out, and I'm like, what? Why are U.S. soldiers like wearing that mask? Yeah. Like, does no one think that's a little weird? Yeah. Like, I mean, I suppose if you're going for the psychological warfare aspect, but you probably could have at least set that up a little bit. Still, in the Amazing Spider-Man, you've got essentially, I don't even know what to compare him to. Like the Green Goblin in that one's just kind of weird looking. Like
in the Andrew Garfield one,
yeah, he's just kind of like made up. And
I always kind of assumed that was more of a Hobgoblin take than a Green Goblin.
Interesting.
I always assumed it was more Hobgoblin. Now, it wasn't specified either way, but I assumed more Hob.
I'm curious to see if, like, what the official, like, stuff on that is.
What it actually says it's supposed to be.
Like what it says on IMDb or whatever. Like, where these, I'm fairly certain it was supposed to be a take on, or at least I would assume it was Green Goblin, but yeah, I suppose it is. It does say Green Goblin, but
it does. Okay.
But you're right. It does have like some.
I had more of a Hobgoblin, and especially since it's Harry instead of Norman.
Right.
I assumed, and we got to go in like 20 seconds. I assumed since they had a name actor playing Norman Osborn sick in bed, that if there was a third one, they were going to bring out him as as Green Goblin.
Gotcha.
Because that guy was an actual name actor. He's a good fucking actor. So they didn't just pay him just to lay in bed. He was going to be back. You know what I mean?
Right.
He actually could have been the guy in the trench coat and hat. He could have been the guy walking around behind the scenes. We don't know. We'll never know. But it's 54:10. We're going to end it here so that Brittany can play. Don't be sad, Peter. Peter, don't be sad. We're going to end it here. Hey, Pops.
Hold on. We got 4 minutes before I told her she had to cut you off. Hold up a minute. I'll say my piece.
Go ahead.
I just popped in so I can tell everybody, tune in here like at 8 o'clock, and we got Mike Barron coming out to talk about joining the Ripperverse on a special edition. And that's the only reason I'm cutting you short, guys, because Mike Barron he's one of our boys. He's royalty in the madness. We give him all the love we can because he gives us all the love he can.
Yeah.
So, you got a couple more minutes, though. Give your final thoughts. Jump out of here I told her about 7:56, play that one ad, and then, it's not a 4-minute ad. You'll be fine. You got a few more minutes.
Sounds good.
So we got like 3 more minutes then.
My final thought is, I don't want to go to work tomorrow. I need a day off. I don't know why.
No, I was busy all of yesterday doing stuff, and like getting stuff to sell to make rent, and I need an actual day off.
Yeah, I hear you.
I don't like having like a busy Sunday, then going right into Monday, and then getting called a slave, and getting called a yes man and a slave for the first thing in the morning.
I can't even say I don't want to go into work tomorrow. I want to feel better by morning. I think that's really what I want. I'm going to load up on massive amounts of coffee first thing and go from there. But
hit those adrenals hard, man. That'll get you through the day.
Hey, that's how I manage is lots of caffeine and pre-workout.
Almost.
I feel like I accomplished a lot today, though, so that's a good thing.
It's funny because like when I get through the day and I've actually done a lot, like for me, that's, what is considered a lot. And Brittany always says, but you did such a good job. You did everything you wanted to do. You did such a good job. And I'm like, it doesn't negate the fact that all I wanted to really do in my heart was nothing.
See, that's not me. I definitely don't feel that way. But it's funny. You brought up this person in your store earlier, and this is my real final thought, because I was scrolling through deleting old messages earlier, and my real final thought was, I was like, as you were describing this person, I was like, I couldn't help but think, I guess Amanda's coming back to the store.
Yeah. Oh God, no.
Sorry.
No, she'll never. Then I hope not. She'll never come. I'm not bringing home. I told Brittany, like, I'm not bringing home any more strays. I'm not trying to make friends with anyone else ever again. It has not worked out once, and we just keep inviting narcissists into our home. I'm done. No one's coming into my house ever again.
Like, the good news is I've completely forgotten that was a thing. Like,
I did too. Until you just mentioned it. Absolutely.
Yeah, it was only because I was going through my old messages tonight and was like, I forgot that totally happened. It was totally ridiculous for 3 weeks.
That was a really horrible 2 months. Yep.
All right. Hey, appreciate you.
Man.
Have a wonderful night.
Yep.
Talk to you tomorrow, buddy.
Thanks for showing up, buddy. Love you guys.
See ya. You too.
Comic Books for Kids provides comic books to kids in hospitals and cancer centers across the U.S. It's a place where we can all work together to make sure every child has a comic book. 100% of all proceeds go towards the kids. It's about making a difference, and while they're in the hospital, allowing them to fly like a superhero, battle dragons, or rescue teddy bears. We are in every state in the country and now support over 160 hospitals. Every month, we add more.
Visit cb4k.org.